Hey kids.
Oi, oi, welcome. I'm Ski Sick, and that's,
Dervsick.
yep, Derv Sick.
And here I was doing a intro fitting of the movie we're reviewing, not our own. Because Kevin
What?
Smith always goes, hey kids.
Oh, he does?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
like at the beginning of all of his podcasts. And
Oh, well, as someone who doesn't listen to any of his podcasts, I would definitely know that.
Well, anyways, hey kids.
Hey, hello there, children. I'm Chef, and that's Twinkle.
Mr. Mackey.
Yeah,
At least not Mr. Garrison.
I was gonna say Twinkle Tits, but that wouldn't make any sense. There's no Twinkle Tits in South Park.
If you couldn't tell by mentioning Kevin Smith, we are here to review the 4:30 movie,
Yeah, it says in the title, so if you can't read,
which we just got done watching. And then afterwards, we will do our second review of the week of One Piece. First off,
take notes.
because we're going to go into spoiler territory, we're just going to go ahead and say what we review the movie.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah, we're good.
But I'd give it a 5. It had really good comedy.
5 out of 10, right?
No, 5 out of 5. It had a lot of comedy. It just felt like a good old fashioned Kevin Smith movie.
I'll give it 4.5. Wasn't Back to the Future, man.
Good comedy. All the cameos were really nice to see as well. And
Yeah.
especially the tie in at the end to Clerks.
Yeah. You wrote spoilers on the title, right?
I forgot in the stream.
Oh. Whoops. Whoopsies.
For from here on out, we are entering spoiler territory.
All right, cool.
There, I'm putting it
This
in
is
the
live
chat.
television, folks. This is how it's done by unprofessionals. That's right. But we just need to have our editor edit out the un part, and then it makes it sound like we're professionals, doing a great thing. But we're unprofessionals. So, anyways, yeah, it was a good movie. It's about a kid who goes on a date with a girl, and a kid who is way too obsessed with movies. And he calls up this chick, and he's like, "Hey, do you want some Kung Pao chicken?" And she's like, "No, it's breakfast time." And he's like, "Okay, well, let me ask you on a date instead." And she's like, "Wait a minute."
First he orders enough breakfast for like a family.
Yeah, he orders some eggs and some chicken and a donut.
Some rolls.
Yeah.
Egg rolls. It was like enough to feed a family.
It was a lot of food. He was a hungry boy. But,
But that we are that would be the character Brian David, played by Austin Zazur, who is also in Clerks 3 as Blockchain Culture.
Don't remember.
The Silent Bob, the second Silent Bob, the Elias's Silent Bob in Clerks 3.
Oh, well, I didn't see it 80 times, so I don't remember. I'm not obsessed. I'm just saying, I'm just not obsessed like you are, you know what I mean? Well, not with Kevin Smith stuff. But that's okay.
And Bernigal, who's the girl of his dreams, is played by Sienna Agudon.
Oh, and she kind of looks like Bulma from the Dragon Ball movie. I'm just kidding. That's not Bulma. She looks definitely like an Asian lady. She's definitely an Asian lady that dresses up as a girl from the 80s.
Which the movie takes place in the 80s.
Exactly. Yeah, so he asked her out on a date, and she, for some reason, says yes, and then there's a flashback to them the previous year, and they're making out in a pool, and she was gonna let him go to second base, but then he chickened out and he never called her, and now it's a year later, and now he's calling her.
And there's also a whole conversation about about the movie that they're going to see, because her mom is obsessed with the movie, or the books that movie is based on.
The butthole guy, right?
There's no synopsis of this yet.
The Black Hawk. That's it. No, it started with the B. Blickon? No.
Blickle?
Blickle. That's
something like that.
Because he was like, oh, your mom called me a butthole.
I can't do what we usually do and just look at the synopsis, because it's not up yet. It just came out tonight.
Where are the synopsis now? Anyway, so the whole motivation is, oh yeah, remember that conversation we had last year? There's like a book that your mom was obsessed with about a detective who's a smartass, and they're making a movie about it. And she's like, oh my god, they're making a movie about it. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah,
Bucklick.
Come.
That's the name.
Bucklick. Liquor is the second one. Hey, you should type that in. Maybe Bucklick is an actual movie. I doubt it, but.
But everything else it references every other movie besides all the trailers.
I was gonna say maybe we should watch the Bucklick movie. No, but so he asked her on a date. She, for some reason, says yes, and he's gonna go hang out with his couple of his friends to see the movies all day. Because it's his day off. What day is it? I have no idea. And they agreed to see this movie at 4:30. Hence the name, the 4:30 movie. And so we're introduced to his friends. He's at his friend's house. I forget it. It was the ginger kid.
Billy.
And his mom's like, oh, you kids are growing boys. I gotta get you the popcorn's not healthy for you. I gotta get you this bacon. Bacon's healthy for your. You need it because you're growing boys. And his friend comes in. They say something to each other or whatever, and the mom's like, "Oh, well, don't eat it yet, son. I gotta put mayonnaise on it first." So they sneak in food in this like tinfoil wrapped thing of bacon and mayonnaise.
And Belly is played by Reed Northrop, who I believe this was his first movie.
Wow. Then we're also introduced to his other friend who has the truck.
Bernie. Who's also obsessed with wrestling and believes it is real.
And their favorite wrestler is Major
Murder. Played by Sam Richardson.
Yeah. And he's and he's apparently coming to New Jersey for a fight or something like that. And they're like, oh my god. And they're like, and then they start to wrestle, and the one kid is like, oh, we wrestling? Oh, yeah.
It happens multiple times.
Yeah. And then they're like, all right, cool, let's go to the movies. And then they're all in line waiting for it to open. And we gotta remember this is the 80s. This isn't like an AMC theater where they're open all frickin' day. This is like they play like 3 movies at the cinema at a time, because this is before they had digital. They had the reels that you had to
Yep.
rent.
Which, believe it or not, movie theaters only went digital like between 5 to 8 years ago. So that isn't that much, because when I first started working at the theater, we had to do the reels.
Okay. Sweet. But now your job is obsolete. Isn't that great? Anyways, small theater, and we're introduced to the guy who runs it, the manager, and it's I forget his name. Kim Jong.
Kim Jong, yep.
Manager. Mickey.
Mike.
That's what I said. And he has a movie mobile, and he's like, "Hey, don't touch my if anyone touches it, you call the cops." Talking to his assistant. And he's like, "Hey, everybody come on in, have a wondrous day, blah, blah, blah." And everybody goes in, and they want to see this dentist movie. I forgot what the name of it was. They're all like
Dentist
fake.
School.
Dentist School. They're all fake movies, by the way.
But Dentist School is also
Except for Astro Blaster. That's obviously a real movie.
It's also a callback to the first Clerks movie and the third one, because I mentioned Dentist School.
Oh. Yeah, you would know. You tell the audience this.
Because
Audience needs to know.
I don't remember.
I'm part of the audience.
I don't remember when they did in the first one, but in the third one, when they're in the weed shop with Jay and Silent Bob, when they realize that they're inside the old movie store, because they're high, of course, they go, "Oh, by the way, I have this movie to return," and that was Dentist School.
Oh. Apparently there's a lot of titties in it, but it's a rated R movie, and they're all in high school, of course. So that's rated R, and then this Bucklick is also rated R, so they can't go see those, so they have to see Astro Blaster.
And the Beaverman.
So they buy their ticket, and they're able to sneak into other movies later in the day, and that's their plan. And that's what they do on their day off, is they watch movies all day. And so they're watching the first movie, and they're kind of going back and forth. And before they get in, there's the ginger kid.
Billy.
He gets in line for like snacks and stuff like that, and this kid in front of him he's like, "Hey, I'll tell if you let your friends cut in line." And he's like, "What does that matter? I'm behind you." He's like, "Well, I'll tell my dad." I was like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, tell your dad." And he turned to his dad like, "Dad, he showed his privates to me." He's like, "You did what?" So he gets kicked out of the theater.
And by the way, enter Jeff Anderson, or Randall.
No, that was him?
Yeah, that was Randall.
No. Well, I didn't know that.
That's why I laughed pretty hard when it showed him.
I thought you were laughing at the joke. At his reaction.
That was also in the trailer.
Oh. I didn't see the trailer, obviously. Or maybe I did, and I just don't remember. Anyways, so he gets kicked out, and, his friends let him back in through the back. And because they're like, fuck it. So they all sit down for the movie, and they're in the, they watch the previews, and there's like these really weird previews. One's about a nun who also becomes a prostitute.
Who accused Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, playing as the nun.
Oh, that was her?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And also Jason Mewes playing as the person she kills.
Yeah. That was funny. I didn't know that was the daughter. Anyways, And so we get that preview. We get another preview about Health Nut something, and it's just like this movie is so bad, or no, it's so extreme. It's been banned in 20 countries, even Scandinavia. And they're like, this is something we can't show the general audience, but we can let you hear it.
Shows a lady running.
That's all it is.
Towards the screen, and
then what was the third?
I forgot the name of it, or no, it was Booties.
Oh right, the guy goes to take a.
Jason Biggs.
He goes to take a crap, and this thing attacked his asshole.
In a porta potty.
Yep.
Jason Biggs cameo.
Mm-hmm.
At least he wasn't fucking a pie this time.
Yep, this time. We also had Jason Long in there.
Justin Long.
As he was just some weird guy.
Stank is his name.
Yeah, Brian David, the main character, he's like looking up to this guy. Hey, how's it going? Oh yeah, rock on. It's like, whoa, hell is for idiots. We're gonna go to heaven. Have you been saved? He's like, you mean by Jesus? Yeah, I'm like Catholic and I'm an altar boy. He's like, oh good, then we'll be hanging out there in heaven. Hey, do you have a buddy for the Hands Across America thing? Yeah, I keep asking people, and no, everybody says they already have a partner. I keep looking for a partner to give these people like hand jobs and stuff like that, but nobody wants to accept it. And he's like, what? Anyways.
And also they have a whole conversation about Rocky IV.
Oh yeah. Who was that blonde hair guy? You mean the Russian? No, I don't care about identities, man. It's just some guy. Anyways, it was really bad.
Nationalities, not identity.
Or whatever. I don't care where he's from. Anyways, so there's those jokes in there. And then they go watch the movie, and then the jock guy, Bernie, he sees some college chicks, and one of them, he's like, hey, we should do some making out and stuff like that.
One he's done it with before in the same theater.
Yep, and then
during the same movie.
Then one of the assistant person has a flashlight, and she's like, Brian David, we need you to come over here. And he's like, crap.
Played by Genesis Rodriguez.
Yep.
He was also in Tusk. And I'm sure she was in a few other Kevin Smith movies, but that's the only one I can think of.
And he comes out, and the manager, he's like, oh hey, while you're in there, we got a call from a little birdie here.
And by the way, at the same time, he was on the phone call with Paramount.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, and they got an emergency call, which basically kicks off the phone.
Oh. Anyways, it was his mom. And he's like, oh my god, the cat is filthy. And he's like, cats are self-cleaning animals, Mom. I don't need to clean it. No. And he's like, fine, I'll clean it. Can I go watch my movie now? Say you love me. Say you love me. He's like, but the manager's staring right at me. Say you love me. Okay, I love you. And hangs up.
After Mike also says, just say you love her.
Yeah. And he hangs up, and then immediately gets a call again. He's like, who is it now? Oh, it's your mom again. Hey, why did you hang up on me? What do you mean? I said I love you. Yeah, but I didn't say I love you back. And then they keep talking. And she's like, oh, by the way, how's the movie? He's like, I don't know. I'm not in it. I'm out here talking to you. And the dad comes. He's like...
Played by Jason Lee.
He's like, hey, what kind of movie they're playing? Is it good? I don't know. Gall. Hey, do you have another cough drop?
I would hope so. I got 2 bags.
I like how you went almost 360. You took the super long way to get to there. Are you gonna finish the circle or go back the long way again? Dang it. I should have caught that, but I didn't. Anyways.
There, I finished the circle. Happy?
Yeah, my OCD is happy. Anyways, so they end the phone call and comes back, sits in the back next to his jock friend Bernie. And Bernie has like the biggest O face on, and he's just like, I can't believe my mom just fucking called me and asking me how the movie is. He asked me about this cat, and then my dad came on the line, and he looks over and they're having sex. And he's like, oh my god, you're having sex in the back? He's like, shut up. But then they're done, he comes back and he takes the drink because he's had his O face on. And they watch the movie, and his other gingerhead friend, what's his name?
Bernie?
No.
Or Belly.
Billy. But their names are Billy, Bernie, and Brian. Are
no,
you
Belly.
Belly?
Belly, Bernie, Brian.
Jesus Christ. Okay, Belly, Bernie, Brian. Thanks, Kevin Smith, for making that difficult. Belly, Bernie. So, yeah, see, he's sick. He gave me this sickness. I blame him. Hey, everybody in the chat, let's blame Derf. Blame him. Anyways, Billum, what was his name? Belly, he's the ginger, he's sleeping. And they're like, oh, wait, the movie's almost over. We should wake him so he can hide in the bathroom because he got banned. And they wake him up and he's like, oh, what happened? He's like, dude, you gotta go to the bathroom. He's like, but I gotta finish the movie. He's like, who cares? You've been asleep for a half.
Plus, this is like the 27th time they've seen the movie.
No, it was his 14th.
It was something.
He said for Brian, it was his 14th. Because they used that movie to get into the rated R movies. Because he's smart. Very smart.
Which, I'm just realizing there's no reference to 37 in the whole movie for once.
Well, I'm pretty sure at the 37-minute mark, something happened where they're talking about dicks. Okay? Anyway, so the ginger
Belly.
Yep. Belly. He goes to the bathroom to hide, and he's reading all the stuff on the walls. And the first two are really funny, and this next one is sex poo. And there's a picture of a naked girl taking a poo, and he decides to whip out his tiny wiener, and he gets caught for masturbating.
And thrown out. Again.
Banned for life. The thing about public masturbation is it's only cool. It's only okay with one person. So he gets kicked out, and immediately his friends let him in again, because duh. And they're like, I can't believe you did that. What are you're an idiot. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, Rachel Dratch was Brian David's mother, of SNL fame. Anyways, what happened after that? Got kicked out. I think this is where they try to get into the second movie. Oh no, he has to switch his schedule around because he gets another emergency call from
Melody.
What's her last name?
Bernagat.
Melody Bernagat. And she's like, oh, hey Brian, I hope I'm not interrupting you. But I can't make the 4:30 movie. I can make the 7:30 movie because the 4:30 I have to. My mom says I have to eat dinner or something like that.
Yeah.
And get off me. No, it's not. So he starts switching the plans around, and they try to see the dentist
School.
school movie, but it's packed, and Bernie gets really mad at him. He's just like, I can't believe you're ruining all our plans.
Well, first they go through. In order to get in, Brian goes to
Distract that guy.
distract the usher, played by Adam Pally.
It's like, do you know anything about Star Wars? Yeah, I know. I love Star Wars. You mean the Ronald Reagan's thing to protect us from nuclear weapons? He's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about now. He's like, I hate movies. Movies suck. There's no God. Oh, I just want to just die. I wish the Russians would just nuke us right now. Then I don't have to worry about dentist school. Wait a minute. Was he talking about actually going to dentistry school, or was he talking about the movie? Oh, I thought he was actually talking about going to dentist school. Okay, that changes anything. I thought that was just a random thing. Okay, got it. So, oh yeah, and then his friends sneak in, but it's super overcrowded, and they can't see it. They're like, there's only one seat available, and this is all your fault because you invited this girl to come watch the movies with you, and you had to change your plans around, and he gets, I think this is where they start yelling at each other.
Yeah, at one point
right?
he says shit.
Oh, that's right. They're the little girl.
3 little girls come up and say,
You said a bad word.
You said shit in front of my sister.
And she's only 6. And he's like, well, I don't give a shit, kid. And they start attacking him. So this 17-year-old jock guy gets
manhandled by 3 little girls.
Yeah. And then they all get kicked out. Which is pretty fun.
And as they're getting kicked out, Bernie says, suck my left nut.
Yep.
And Mike just goes, not today.
Not today, Junior. Not today. So they all leave, and they all pass people doing the whole hands across America thing. You're adults. Stop touching each other. And they get into an argument, and Belly. What?
When it first showed that, I thought we were going to see Justin Long sitting there trying to give somebody a hand.
That would have been great. But they must have cost too much money. And what happens next?
They get in a fight.
Get in an argument. They're like, and Belly is like, hey, Bernie, you're feeling inferior. You're feeling like you're in competition with this girl, this Melody girl. And he's like, what? No, I'm not. He's like, yeah, well, you like movies and you like women. And now she's trying to take over this spot, and you're kind of jealous of this. And he's like starting to literally make sense. And
basically, he's the silent.
Brian throws a punch.
Basically, Belly is the Silent Bob of this movie, because Silent Bob is always the voice of reason.
Oh.
Yeah, like
he didn't really talk. He was just like.
No,
he talked. Well, I mean, he talked a little bit, but yeah, he has the voice of reason.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit. He's like,
in all the other movies, Silent Bob, like he always says maybe 1 or 2 sentences in every movie, and it's always either the voice of reason or just summarizing the plot of the movie, like just be the moral of the movie.
Yep.
And that's exactly what Belly was. Just
Yeah.
The Silent Bob of the movie.
He did his job. And then Bernie is, he gets punched. He's like, don't make fun of her. He's like, oh, you're short, haha. And Brian punches Bernie, and they get into a scuffle. And then the people holding hands turn the other way so they can watch the fight. And they get into the fight, and then Belly.
Yep.
Belly starts to make sense, and he's like, "Hey, you guys need each other, kind of thing, and don't let this girl like tear you apart." And so Brian pulls out his hand, and Bernie's just like, "Hey, fuck you guys," and he walks away. And
that's where he's
skulking. Then we see him skulking.
That's where he says, "You're adults. You shouldn't be touching each other."
Yeah,
as he's leaving.
Yeah, right. Get to see him skulking, and then he sees his hero, Major Murder, and he gets to talking with him. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm #1 fan." He's like, "Oh really?" He's like, "Oh, why are you? What are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just going to see that girl over there." He's like, "Oh, is that your daughter?" He's like, "What? Fuck no, am I that old? God no, that's my wife." We met in high school.
First of all, the first part it said in his Major Murder voice, but then when he gets accused, or when he's asked if that's his daughter, then he takes off his sunglasses and then you hear his real voice.
Yeah, he was like bullied in school because of his
he was fat.
He was fat, and his name was Albert, so they called him Fat Albert, and his last name was a cow-related last name.
Yeah.
Does it say it on there?
No,
it just says Major Murder. And
Heffenstein or something like that.
Yeah, something cow-related, so they called him different cow insults like cow pie and mother's teat or something like that, or milk tit or something. I can't remember all of them. There was a lot of things, but he gives them some words of wisdom. Bernie gets some words of wisdom, and then he's like, "Oh, okay," kind of reflecting on his life, even though he's only 17.
And then
that's when the girl comes.
No, Brian then runs into the female usher from the theater.
Oh right, he's like contemplating throwing himself down the stairs and realizes that she's a symphomaniac just like he is. And they're like, "Oh, you know this person? Oh, you know this person? Oh, it sounds like this guy." Yeah, there he realizes that this is her last day, and she's going to design school. She wants to be a director, and she's like, "Oh, I've never met a director before." Oh, and she's like, "Oh, you should look in the mirror." Blah blah blah. And yeah.
Which we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, it's foreshadowing.
I'm just now realizing that foreshadowing part.
Yep. And then you go out to the front of the theater, and to meet what's her name again?
Bernie or no?
Hogany.
Melody
Bergamet. And he's like, he looks at this guy and he's like, "Hey, is that girl over there real?" And he's like, "Oh, and he just walks away.
That would have been a perfect cameo from Kevin Smith.
Yeah. Because I turned to this guy in the theater, I was like, is that Silent Bob's dad? Looks like it. And so they go in the movie theater, and he pleads with the manager, Mike. He's like, "Please, can I just watch this movie? Look at that girl. It's going to be the best day of my life. And if I don't, it's going to be a horrible day. Just please, as I come to you as a man, just please this one time, just let me do it." And he's like, no. Absolutely not. And that's when Melody comes and stands up to him, and she's like, "Oh, you calling him short? Well, you're short as he is, and at least I don't have a stupid car with movie stuff on it. It looks dumb. And he's like, no, now you're both banned. Ha 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 ha. And so they both get banned, which is pretty cool. And then that's when Barney comes back and he crashes a truck into the movie mobile. He's like, oh my god, your car hit my truck. And then Belly comes over and he's just like, hey, what are you guys doing here? Go inside the movies. Yeah, this is a distraction, so you can get in there. So they go inside and they sit down there like, wow, that was amazing. This is so cool. And then right behind them is Melody's mom. And she's like, hey, this is rated R. You need to get out of here.
By the way, Melody's mom is played by Kate Miucci.
Yeah, Garfunkel and Oates. I believe she's the Oates.
I only know of her
no
for because she's also in Scrubs,
Oh, is she?
I believe.
Well, she was also in Scrubs and Garfunkel.
I think that's
and
her.
Oates. And
But she's also in Clerks 3.
and if you're a fan and if you want to see a song,
Yeah,
type in
she's in Scrubs.
Garfunkel and Oates Loophole. It's a great song. Remember
Yep.
that, Garfunkel and Oates Loophole.
Yeah, she's in Scrubs.
Loophole.
She's
Okay.
the janitor, or no, not Ted's love interest in Scrubs.
Okay.
The lawyer, the hospital lawyer.
That's okay. I didn't really watch Scrubs. I watched a couple episodes, but nothing more. Anyways.
You know Ted, because he's in every single episode.
Oh, okay. Anyways, what were we saying? Oh yeah, they sneak in, and then their mom was behind them, and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing in here?" Blah blah blah. And then we find out that her aunt is also there, and she's like, "Oh hey, how's it going? Oh, we're gonna go see Poltergeist." And Poltergeist was a movie that they were gonna go watch.
Poltergeist 2.
Poltergeist 2 together. And she got really mad, and she's like, "Hey, get out of here, or else I'll call the manager in." And they both leave, and they both have like a heart-to-heart kind of thing.
And by the way,
he asked her out finally for a real date. What are you saying?
The aunt is played by Rosario Dawson.
Yep, she was in Clerks movie.
Clerks 2, Clerks 3 is just flashbacks and hallucinations.
Mm-hmm. Anyways.
And reboot as well.
Yep. So we're almost done, guys. So they have a heart-to-heart. This is literally in the movie. They have a heart-to-heart. And he's like, "Oh, we don't go on a date with me, like boyfriend, girlfriend." She's like, "No, I can't." And he's like, "Wait, what? Why? Is it because I'm short?" And she's like, "No, you're the most interesting guy I've met. But we kissed last year, and then you didn't talk to me at all until today. So how do I know?"
This guy.
Oh, okay. How do I know that you're actually into me? And he's like, "Oh, I got this tape recorder thing, and it's a message after the message he did right after he
failed at kissing her.
asked her out on the phone. That's what it was. And he's like, "Oh, I love her. I did it because of love." And they're like, "Oh my God, now we're together." And then the movie ends. And then they're like, do you think you could make this day into a movie?" "Nah, maybe if there was like end credits and a song at the end."
And cues the end credits as they're walking away.
Yep. And then there's
there's a mid-credit scene.
And a blooper reel at the end.
We're gonna save that for the.
What?
I was gonna cue the outro and then say, "Oh, by the way."
Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you're gonna do it. Anyways, you can still do it. Whatever. Well, this will be a practice run. So yeah, the outro was them they're like, oh, they were making like a sex thing, like, oh, has he stuck it in yet? And she's like, no, he hasn't. He's really nervous. They're like, oh, well, once you're done, I mean, I'll watch, and then we can go get some like Chinese food. I like those egg rolls. They're making a sex thing, and it looks like he's applying to get a. It sounded like he was applying to get a job, and he was, and it was to
The Quick Step.
That's what it's called. And if you don't know what Quick Step is, you should probably watch Clerks, and Clerks 2, and Clerks 3. Because that's what it's all about.
And
That's what it's all about.
I'd stick with the 5 out of 5. One of the things I liked that I wanted to wait till the end was because you realize with that Quick Step that Sam or Brian David is actually meant to portray Kevin Smith.
You know?
Because Quick Stop was his first job, or where he started learning all the stuff that got him to work at or do Clerks.
Was it actually that shop, or was it just like a convenience store? I thought it was just a
No,
convenience store.
it was a Quick Stop.
That's an actual chain?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, it was an actual Quick Stop, and I didn't know that, but yeah.
And like the whole
implying, like that day happened, he asked this girl out, and then he got a job at the place, and that's where he got ideas for the movie for Clerks.
And the whole like the whole mention of, oh, you could be a director was kind of foreshadowing.
Yep.
The fact that.
What do you want to be when you go? I want to be a dean. What do you want to be? I want to be a writer. Okay. And then they did it. Whoa.
But,
just like the movie.
If anybody watching this knows Kevin Smith, tell him.
Huh?
Show him this video.
Yeah.
But, yeah, 5 out of 5. He gives it 4.5 out of 5.
4.5 out of 5. I mean, it wasn't action-packed, but it had the characters.
It had
all
heart.
Had meaning.
It had heart.
Yeah, and they were all like,
just like a old Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah.
Before, like, the big.
The only downside, there was no Jay and Silent Bob selling cocaine to people.
Which they should have showed that when they showed the Quick Stop.
They should have. This is 1986. I mean, I don't know. The Mets are a pretty bad team. I don't know if they're gonna make it out of the way. You know what I'm saying?
That was our review. We're gonna take a little bit of a break and then get to One Piece. By the way, what I wanted to say, but you spoiled. There's an end credit scene.
Yeah.
If you stayed this long, you now see why. Because that's literally what they do in the movie.
They have a blooper reel.
And one of the funny things is, because if you know Kevin Smith, he likes to talk. He wasn't in the movie.
You could hear him. He wasn't in them, but you can hear him at the end.
Just look at the you can hear him in the bloopers.
Yeah, the last one. Yeah.
But what I was trying to say is, because if you look at the end of the review or at the end of the credits, it just says the director wants to thank, and it's one giant paragraph of people.
Oh.
And then that ends, and then 2 lines later, the director also wants to thank, and the director also wants to thank like 3 or 4 times.
I was not paying attention to that.
I was laughing at that. I didn't read all the credits because there's way too much.
I never look at the credits, so.
I just noticed, because it was after the songs and stuff.
Yeah. I was listening to the song. I was looking at my phone, so I was paying attention. But yeah, then they had the blooper reel, and then you're like, oh my god, blah blah blah. So yeah, that's the end of that review. All right, cool. Short break time. Get to this one where I didn't write any notes. So I tried to write some, but my arm was like, no. I was even writing slow. But my arm was like, still no. So.
By the way, when my sound wasn't working yesterday, this fell when Mike was installing that, I assume, and it hit the the power button. I didn't realize that.
Huh?
The reason why I couldn't hear you, my speakers, when Mike was installing the new camera, it fell and it turned it off.
Oh. Okay.
That's why I couldn't hear you.
Got it.
If I had my phone on me, I probably would have known a lot sooner.
Yeah. Well, I would have texted you, but I was like, it's more funny if I just did like this. Where is your other one? Huh. Need another.
Can you get me one?
No.
That's the least you can do if you're using my cough drops.
Yeah, I have some at home. I can bring some over. But this is my second one.
Good, I hope I'm done with this by Saturday.
Yeah, you gotta pump that shit, man. Pump that. Fit and volume.
Put that shit in my hands.
Pumping that shit in the volume. The worst thing is, all the sugar on your teeth and stuff like that. Oi oi! Hey, welcome back to the Dritz Dresden channel. I am Ski Sick, that is Derv Sick, and we're about to review episodes
21 through 25.
21, 25?
Yep.
Did I watch the wrong ones? I'm just kidding. 21, yes, we're introduced to what's his name? Starts with an S. Not Shamir. What's his name?
Who?
The cook guy.
Patty?
No.
That guy? Or Sanji?
Sanji. That's it. See, I didn't write my notes.
Oh,
because my
Sanji was
arm-
introduced in the last episode.
Yeah.
We are officially introduced to a new cook in this one.
Patty.
At the big one.
He's
There's
in
Patty.
the bathroom and he's taking a giant poopy. And he's like, customers, motto. Customers, motto. Ah, after taking a giant dump, I feel great. I'm gonna help so many customers a day. Ah, hello. What does he say? He was like, not. Oh, hello, criminal. Or greetings, criminal. Or no, greetings, crook. Maybe that's what it was. Greetings, crook. How may I help you today? What? You can't pay? Well, it's time to get the hell out of here. So he's there, and he and Sanji are kind of going back and forth a bit. Heavy arguments. I can't believe Sanji is a sous chef. That doesn't make any sense. I'm a much better cook than he is. Well, he has been working here longer than you have. Oh yeah, I guess. Blah blah blah. Then we have a pirate that comes in, and he kicks open the door.
Jin.
Yeah, starts with a G. Ghin.
I just put
Strange.
Gin.
Well, that's what it said in the Japanese dub. That's the only reason I know. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known.
Or
Alright.
Gin, I think is pronounces it in the English.
And there's like a Navy guy. He's like,
The same guy that Sanji left off with Sanji strangling.
Yeah, that's right. That's how it started with the strangling. So Petty comes in, sees the guy being strangled. He's like, "Hey, how dare you touch a customer like that? This is Lieutenant of the Navy. How dare you do this?" He's like, "Well, you spilled the soup that took me 3 days to make." And he's like, "That doesn't matter." He's like, "This is a customer. You can't treat him like that." And they're all like fighting amongst each other. And this whole time, the lieutenant is narrating what we're seeing in a way. It's just pretty cool. And he's like, "Man, these people are freaking crazy. How are these people so strong? They're able to take on these people?" And that's when we see the Navy guy. He's like, "Oh my god, one of the prisoners escaped." He's like, and it's Jin, this guy. And he shoots that guy. He's like, "Food, water, please," or because he sits down at the table and he's like waiting to be served, and Patty comes up to him. He's like, "Oh, hello, do you have any money?" He's like, I have a bullet." He's like, oh, a bullet, oh, well," and he slaps the gun away, and he's just like, "Well, you can't pay, you need to get the hell out." Like he was practicing in the mirror. And he's like, "Please, we were he's because he's a was it Keith pirate?
Krieg pirate?
Krieg pirate. He's a Krieg pirate, and they're the biggest
Basically the king of the East Blue.
of the East Blue. And the East Blue is a section of ocean that they're in. And we don't have a map of this yet, so we don't know what or where East Blue is. So, but who cares? That's all you need to know. And he's part of this crew, and he's like, "Yeah, I got captured, but I'm starving. I want food." And so he gets kicked out, and then Sanji goes up to make some food for him, and he's like on a side area on the deck, and he gives him some food, and he's like, "Hey, I don't need your charity." He's like, "Well, charity or no, if you don't eat it, you're gonna die. Then you can't, have a life," or something. He says something philosophical, and he's super grateful. He's like, "Oh, thank you for this food. Thank you for this food. Thank you for this food." And as he's like right before he's about to eat it, Luffy comes. He's like, oh, looks like you're starving, huh? Because he's a chore boy now, and he sees Sanji do this very kind gesture and giving him food, and he's like, oh, thank you. And then the boss comes out and he's just like, hey, what are you doing giving out food? He's like, oh man, I don't want to get you in trouble. So he's on this boat and he gets sent off. And Sanji just takes the plate and the cup and the fork and he's just like, well, dumps it in the ocean. He's like, well, now there's no evidence. He's like, oh, thank you. Oh man, you're so kind. That's when he goes back to his boss, Don Krieg. And he mentions that this is he was able to get food at this place, and he's like, okay, I guess we'll there. And then in the next episode, Don Krieg comes in, episode 22, and because I didn't write any notes, we're gonna get some of this some details missed, but we're doing an overall arc of this 5-episode series that we're doing. Anyways, so that episode showed Sanji's character.
By the way, first episode was called Unwelcome Customer, Sanji's Food and Gein's Death.
Mm-hmm. And what's that title of the next episode?
The Strongest Pirate Fleet, Commodore Don Krieg.
Oh, wow. Well, good thing we're going to be introduced to this guy, so here we go. So Don Krieg comes with his giant, massive ship. Oh, by the way, it's 4 days later. And, oh, I think I also missed the scene, unless it's in this episode, where Nami, Zoro, and Usopp, are all dining at this place.
I think it was the last one.
It was 21?
I think so, yep.
And Sanji is hitting on Nami, of course. He sees Nami, he's like, oh, beautiful girl. And she's like, oh, this stuff is so expensive. Can I have it for a little, can I get a discount? He's like, ah, yes, you can eat for free. She's like, oh, thank you, and gives him a hug. And as the audience, we know what she's doing. She knows what she's doing, but Sanji doesn't. Because he's in love, I guess.
Sanji is essentially the Brock of One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
At
least so far. But he's like everybody else has to pay. and then this is where the 4 days go by, and his crew is bored. They're like, Luffy, what are you doing? We need to get out of here. And he's like, sorry, I'll talk to the boss again, see if he'll let me go, but I'm kind of stuck here.
And Luffy is a horrible busser.
Yeah, they're asking him to clean dishes. Hey, go over there and clean some dishes. He's like, oh, okay, and he's just like listening to Patty and another chef talk about, I forget what they talk about, like a food or who's better at making food or something like that. Anyways, doesn't really matter, and he's just like literally breaking every dish. He's not paying attention. He's like watching it, putting it up to the side and it breaks. He's like, how many dishes do you break? He's like, I don't know, I didn't count. That's not the point. Here, go sweep something. And he's like sweeping on the deck, and then all of a sudden Don Krieg comes in. He's like, hey, I'm Don Krieg, look at me, I'm awesome. And he's desperate for food as well. And just like, and Jin introduces him. Jin is like, here, this is where they had food. Come on in. And they're like, no, we can't give Don Krieg the food because he's a pirate. He's like, we have, he's desperate and he's like basically dying. He's like, we have money, we can pay you. And everybody's like, no, don't give him anything. And poor Sanji goes back upstairs, and he comes back down and offers him some food, and he starts to eat. And he gets stronger. He's like, "Ha ha! I'm gonna take over the ship now." And then Jin's like, "No, what are you doing? We had a deal. I said you get food, and they can feed us, and we can pay, and we can leave." He's like, "No, I feel better now. Ha ha!" And this whole time, I think it was Patty that was saying it, was saying that Don Krieg got his reputation for pretending to be a Navy ship.
Yep.
And attacking people, and the other one was like holding up a white flag of surrender and then attacking people. So he's very devious and deceiving, so not to be trusted because he's also a pirate. And he starts to make a new deal. He's like, "Hey, you give me food for the rest of my crew." Because his crew is dying too, and they're like, "No, you can't get." He's a deceiving guy. If you give it to his crew, he's gonna attack. And Sanji is blamed for reviving Don Krieg, and they're like, "What have you done? This is all your fault." And the captain comes down. He's like, "Hey, what are you gonna do about Sanji? He's the reason that Don Krieg is back." And what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? You can't do things on your own computer. How dare you? I don't know what he's doing. He's doing something. Let's see. Don Krieg. He's like, "Haha, you need to give me food for the rest of my crew, and I demand it." And some of the chefs are like, "No, we're gonna stand up to you. Ha ha ha." And the Jin kind of mouths off to his captain. He's like, "Captain, no, you can't do this. We can't betray him like this." And Don Krieg then, with one hand, grabs his shoulder and breaks his arm, basically. And he's like on the ground, just like He's just in a lot of pain. And then who's the pops guy?
Zeph.
Chef
Redfoot Zeph.
He comes out and he's like, "Zeph?" And Don Krieg gets like worried. It looks like he's getting worried. And he's like, "Wait, red shoe Zeph? Or red foot Zeph?"
Yeah, Redfoot.
And he's like, "Oh my god, he was on the Grand Line for like a whole year, and he's known for he could break a stone with his foot, or a giant rock with his foot. And his foot will get all bloody from all the blood. And so he was scared of that. But then he sees his leg. He's like, oh, too bad you lost your leg. Oh, that really sucks." So he gains his confidence back, and he's like, "Feed my crew, blah blah blah." And then Zeph has like a giant thing, and he gives it to him. He's like, "Here," and everybody's like, "No, what are you doing?" He's like, only Sanji understands that what it's like to be starving, and you don't understand what that means." So he gives it to him, and his crew is all eating, and they're all saved. And that's when Don Krieg is like, "Aha, I'm gonna take over your ship, and you have to give me your notebook that's all about the Grand Line." And I had like thing about what does that say on the side for that one? What Nami's saying? I can't read it.
This place is just full of mysteries for us.
Nice. And so they're all fed, and his demand is the boat and the journal. And he's like, Zeph is like, "No, I can't give you that. That's a journal of me and my crew. You can't have it." And he's like, "All right, well then I'm gonna attack you." And so he does that, and everyone, like even Patty and everyone else is like mad at Sanji and Zeph. They're like, "You gave them food," and they're like, yeah, but yeah, I know I gave them food, but now they're upright and able to fight. So I will do everything I can to um, protect uh, this ship from attack. And I think that's I think that's when the crew starts seeing a guy in a small boat, and the boat gets cut in half. And there's like a bunch of story here about how they spent 7 days on the Grand Line, and they had 50 ships and 5,000 men, and they couldn't make it 7 days because there was something that defeated them. Even the guy who was even Jin did not understand it because he's like, yeah, we got defeated. Our entire armada was defeated by one man. And everybody's like, one man. He's like, yeah, don't go to the Grand Line. It's it's messed up. I don't even know what's there anymore. And sorry, that was a funny picture. um, and I think that's where that episode ends. So the 23rd episode, I could be mixing episodes too. Could you read the synapse?
Because that was there's still episode 23. Because you didn't segue into 23.
Oh, okay.
You already covered quite a bit of most of it.
That was episode 22 and 23. I tricked you guys. Ha ha. So yeah, that was most of it. So that's cool.
Did you mention Nami?
Oh, taking the ship?
Yep.
I do not. Nami took the ship. Right before we learned that Nami took the ship, and the two brothers were like, "Oh, we're so sorry, brother. Oh my god."
They aren't brothers.
I know, but that's what they call each other. They call each other brothers. So episode 24 is we learn what happens with Nami, and she tricked the two bounty hunters. She was gonna change or whatever because she was staring at this bounty flyer, and they're like, "Yeah, that's the guy's name. What's his name? Zin
Arlong.
Arlong." Haha, I was at the wrong end of the alphabet. And she decided, she's like, "Oh, I never joined their crew. I was just on their side for a little while. But I'm gonna take your boat now. See ya, bye." And so she kicked them both off, pretending that she was changing. So they turned around, and that's when she kicked them off. And they're like, "Oh my god, we're so sorry." And that's when this guy named Hawkeye.
Mihawk.
Mihawk?
Hawkeye Mihawk.
Yeah, Hawkeye the Mihawk. Mihawk Man. Destroyer of Worlds. He comes and Zoro recognizes the name and he's just like, "No way. I was been waiting my whole life for this moment." And we learn that he's the best swordsman in the world. And Zoro, this whole episode is just Zoro challenging him to a fight. And it's not very long, but Zoro challenges him to a fight. He's like, "You're a good swordsman. I want to be the best swordsman, so I challenge you."
There's Mihawk.
Yep, there he is. Very tiny, like his sword. And Mihawk has this giant ass sword, and nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going on. Mihawk has this giant ass sword, and that's what he basically uses to cut the ship in half. And he asked him, "Is like, did you use that sword to cut the ship in half?" He's like, "Yes, I did." And we don't really know why he's there. He just kind of, I guess, followed them. So he gets challenged by Zoro, and he's like, "All right, I'll accept your challenge." But he uses this tiny little blade to fight him, and Zoro comes at him with his 3 blades, and is able to stop with this tiny blade. And he's like, "Oh my god, nobody's able to stop this before. That doesn't make any sense." So they keep fighting back and forth for a little bit, and during the middle of the fight, I think the two bounty hunters try to stop him. They're like, "No, Zoro!" as he's like getting defeated pretty much, and wait, hold on. You get 30 seconds. I won't last longer than that. Anyways, so they have the fight, and then he's like, "Oh, you're a formidable foe," and he's like, why do you want to fight me?" He's like, "I want to be the strongest in the world," and he loves his like demeanor and just will to fight. And he's like, "All right, well, if I'm gonna defeat you, I'm gonna defeat you with the sword." And he's like, Zoro's like, "Thank you for pulling out that sword. That means a lot to me." And he does secret ultimate technique, and he just gets slashed right in his chest. And Zoro knows he's about to lose, but he's gonna go all out against this guy. And he does the secret ultimate technique, and he finally gets to use it. And he gets slashed again. He gets double slashed basically. And what he says before he gets double slashed is, it's not good for a swordsman to have a scar on his back. And that's when he respects him, and he's like, "What is your name, good sir?" He's like, "I'm forget his first name.
Oronooro Zoro.
Oronooro Zoro." And he's like, "What is your name?" "I'm Mihawk something." And they kind of finish, and he's on the ground, and Luffy's like, "Hey, Usopp and Zoro, go after Nami. I will accept no other navigator for my crew." And so that's kind of what happens. And they go off on their own thing, even though he's totally injured and stuff like that. My throat is getting a little sore, guys, so bear with me. Got one more to go. Can you bring up the synopsis again? I want to make sure I get this right. So after that whole fiasco, what's his name? Don Krieg. He has this. Don's his golden armor, and he has like guns hidden in compartments and stuff like that, and people are like shooting throughout the episodes. They keep trying to shoot him, but nothing is working. But his ship is all messed up, and he finally gets his crew. He's like, "Hey crew, we're gonna take over this boat." And they're like, "Are you sure we want to go to the Grand Line? We barely survived last time." He's like, "No, we're going to the Grand Line." And he shoots one of the guys for asking a question. So they all attack him, and there's this guy named Pearl.
Yep.
He's an invincible shield person, and he's been in 61 battles, and he's never bled. And then something happens with Luffy. Luffy is he basically he slings himself onto a mast, and he's kind of fighting with Don Krieg on the bigger ship. And on the Baratier, they bring up a platform where they can fight easier, as not to kill the kitchen. And this Pearl guy comes up. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna attack you," blah blah blah. And Luffy, out of nowhere, he gets hit by Don Krieg's mace, and he kind of flies into the back of Mr. Pearl, and he starts to bleed right away, and it's kind of funny because he starts to get upset like a little child. He's like, "Oh, I'm bleeding," and they're like, no, don't get upset, because he lights himself on fire. And of course Sanji's there, and he's just like, "I'm not scared of fire. I'm a cook. What do you think? Do you think fire threatens me? No." And so he starts fighting them, and they kind of go back and forth, and even now Krieg is like, "No, Pearls, calm down." So he's lighting everything on fire, and he's like throwing like fire pearls at things. Some of them go towards the Captain Zep. Is that his name? Zeph.
Zeph.
And he kind of kicks it away. It's like, oh wow, is of course because he has the red foot thing, and he stops them, and they're it's kind of a stalemate at this point. What happens at the end of the episode? There's something important. Does it say?
Geen takes Zeph hostage.
Oh, right. Zeph gets knocked out by a djinn, and he holds a shotgun up to his head. He's like, excellent. Now just shoot him, and we can take over the ship. And the episode ends. So we're done. Hooray! This arc so far is really cool. I like the backstory of Baratie and Sanji and the captain, and it's like everybody has their own motives and everybody has a deep backstory of why they're doing things, the bad guys and the good guys, and whatever the fuck Hawkeye was doing. But it was cool to see Zoro get put in his place. It's like, and everybody's like, oh crap, wow, that's Zoro's strongest attack, and he wasn't able to keep up at all. Oh my god. And Hawkeye saying, hey, I want you to get stronger, son. I want to see you again.
I want you to surpass me, is basically what he said.
Yeah. And that's right. And then he turns to Luffy. He's like, what do you want? Because he's also impressed by Luffy for watching the fight to the end and not interfering. And he realizes that Luffy is that Zoro is part of his crew, and he's like, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to get the One Piece. He's like, oh, you have to work even harder to surpass that. He's like, well, how would I know if I haven't done it yet? Just Nami leaving, that's a mystery. What is this Hawkeye, and why did he attack these ships? We don't know. What's going to happen with this fight? What's in the journal? What's the Grand Line? Are they going to catch up to her? Why did she run away? And then next week we'll review the other ones, but hopefully I will get better by then.
Next week, probably Thursday again, we'll do the next 10, probably. Just watch 10 by next Thursday.
Got it.
First Saturday, as of right now, unless if either one of us gets worse, we'll watch and review.
Yeah, I blame him.
Either Werewolves Within or Zatoichi the Blind Swordsman. I haven't decided yet. It's my week to choose.
Mm-hmm. I will let you know if I'm better or not. This just started today, so. At around 6:30 when I woke up. And I was like, what the hell?
If not on Sunday, I might stream Lakusa's gym battle, just because there's going to be a lot more than just a gym battle to it. I'll allow you and Cole to join, or just to watch because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's his good or farewell session for now.
For now.
But
I need to go to bed.
That brings me to if you want to join Our Pokemon D&D, we can probably use one more person. Since we've had a few people leave or just not respond.
Yeah.
But, so we are looking for at least one more person. If you're interested, please comment. Just
That's only if you're still watching, because I doubt you are, because the review's over. But if you are still here, you get a gold cookie.
and yeah, we'll do 26 through 35 next week.
You want to come in?